Disciple pushed forward a question to Master Purnananda. Guruji, how I dived headlong into illusion and how I suffered being battered about in whirlpool of that illusion, helplessly bobbing up and down. It is all so clear from your teachings. It seems as though it were actually happening again. Oh, all that has gone before is wasted in the hope of gaining pleasure and happiness. I have struggled so hard all this time, but I do not even know the one for whom I suffered, do not know for whose pleasure I underwent such hardships. I never cared to look at myself, to find out who I am or what I am. I never studied the object of my desire, never discerned what would satisfy my want. I never tried to decide what thing would bring that bliss for which the soul yearns so deeply. Without knowing who I am, I determined this, that, and countless other things to be the object of my desire. I was so deep in illusion that despite all experiences which proved none of these things are able to fulfill my want, it still did not occur to me that these objects were not the true objects of desire. Who am I? I do not know. Yet I persist in struggling to perform my duties, one at this time, another at that time. The person is not known, and I am deciding his duties. Master, that I have failed for so long to see so obvious an illusion is the greatest wonder to me. After hearing your instructions, it is clear that trying to determine our duties or to ascertain what we desire will be completely false so long as we do not know ourselves. I understand that I must first of all ascertain what I am, then decide what it is I actually desire, and then see what I must do in order to fulfill that desire. To determine all of these things is of the utmost importance. But even after studying the questions very thoughtfully, I am unable to settle anything about what I am. I laugh at myself now to finally see my own foolishness. All these years I have been knowing this and that, mine and yours, him and her, and so much else, but I do not know me. And I am so ignorant that I do not even feel the need to know myself. And whatsoever I do know about myself, I do not know others to that extent. Under these conditions, how wrong my opinions must be about what is proper for others. When I realize all these, I see that I have passed all these years in illusion. Guruji, by my own thinking and research, I cannot understand the least thing about what I am. Master Purnanandji replies, I see how deeply my teachings have affected you, and I am pleased that you now feel the need to know yourself and long for self realization. In truth, he who does not know himself is the greatest buffoon, since everyone knows all things in relations to himself. One who does not know himself will know nothing but illusion. If the standard of comparison is defective, everything measured with it is bound to be defective. Abandoning all desire, all anger, all greed, and every sort of attachment, I must look into myself and see who I am. Those deprived of knowledge of self fall into the darkest of hells. Among all tattvas or essences, the Atma Tattva should be the first object of our knowledge. The moment one properly understands the Atma Tattva, then his intelligence or Gyan is eliminated with the knowledge of all other tattvas. And one who is ignorant of the Atma Tattva is ignorant of all tattvas. At present, you have no knowledge except that is produced through senses. If you eliminate this sensory knowledge or indriya gyan, what will be the state of your knowledge at all? Therefore, in your search for the Atma Tattva, you will not be able to make any progress without starting from your sensory knowledge. Therefore, since you understand nothing beyond your senses, in order to explain the element of self, I will have to use arguments which seem logical to you in present state. In this state of sensory knowledge, the moment we try to discover who we are, our eyes immediately fall on our bodies. Whatever I may be in this state, maybe I am 5 or 6 feet tall, either I can say that I am this body or that I am something beyond this body, that this body at present is merely my place of residence, my house. If I am only the body, then what will be called I, as in hands, feet, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, stomach, genitals, back, chest, brain. Which is I? We commonly say my hand and my feet, just as when we say my book. It is understood that I am not the book. In the same way, when I say my hand, the idea is present that I am not the hand. If I were the hand, I would say I am the hand, and the phrase my hand would be meaningless. It is clear that saying my hand implies that I am separate from the hand. Therefore, I am not the hand. In the same way, I am neither feet, nor eyes, nor ears, nor any of the rest. Then is the body as a whole composed of hand, feet, ears, eyes, and so on me? This also cannot be, because we say my body. You may argue we say my intelligence, my mind, my soul, and so forth. Then are none of these intelligence, mind, soul is to be considered I, my boy? Whatever your sensory knowledge understands by words, mind, intelligence in reality, I is not even that. Then what is I? The truth would be incomprehensible to your present intelligence. Otherwise, I would have told you what I is. I is an object beyond the perception of the sense. It cannot be reached through speech, through mind, through senses. We see that our language says, I am not the body, I am something beyond the body. Also see the knower and the known, the one who understands and the thing understood are not one. If the seer and the seen were one, there would be no difference between them. In that state, when I am the realizer and the thing realized, I am all pervading, and duality or dvanda does not exist. For those who consider the seer and the seen to be one and the same, to them I have nothing to say. But for you, in your understanding, the realizer and the thing realized are not one. The knower is different from the thing known. Body is the thing known. Therefore, the one who knows the body is different from the body. Thus, I am not the body. On the other hand, if you say that the body and ego are one, then how can this feeling of ego disappear while body remains? In the state of sleep or death, the body does exist, but the sense of self is not there. Then how can we believe the attachment of body and ego to be inextricable? Neither the body as a whole nor any part of the body is I, the knower. Eyes do not see, ears do not hear, and the seer or the hearer is different from the eyes or ears. The eyes are undoubtedly closed during sleep, but the ears are not blocked. If the ears alone hear, then why they do not hear in the sleep? I, the knower, must be different from eyes and ears. Eyes and ears are the only instruments for perception. It must be accepted that this I was present in one form or the another, even before the birth of this body. Creation of a thing which from its very root has no existence is not possible. If this I had not existed before, wherefrom would it have been created? Can the existence of a thing be possible if its existence is taken away? An existing substance may undergo a change in form, but how can it be completely destroyed? Therefore, I was present even before the birth of this body and will be present even after the dissolution of this body. In the light of all these, one cannot accept in any way that I is inseparable from the body. Disciple again starts speaking. On hearing the last portion of your speech, Guruji, a doubt has arisen in my mind. We observe that in nature, mixing two or more things in different proportions will produce different states. For example, turmeric and lime mixed together turn into another substance which is red. So it comes to mind that of all the elements existing in nature, some particular combination in a particular proportion has produced this body and this intelligence as well. Variation in the combination will produce variations in the body and intelligence. Death is nothing but this. In one aspect of this combination, body is present, but intelligence does not exist. With some changes in this combination, body also ceases to exist. Therefore, I am the elements, and after this body was decayed, I will again exist in the form of element. At present, whatever is seen as the body is simply a combination of elements. I exist in past, present, and future. I do not perish, do not end. The state of I only undergoes changes in form due to different combinations and composition of elements. In this way, can it not be said that I am inseparable from the body? After listening to disciple, this is what Master Purnananda said. Son, this sort of objection is nothing but a false logic. Many scholars, in the pride of sensory knowledge, have made similar arguments to establish oneness with the physical organism. They brag about its importance, thinking the body to be I. What can I call this but self deception and attachment? If we accept your mutation of 5 or 7 elements, then how is it possible to feel an affection for any particular body? You have no kinship with any element. Then how can kinship arise for a group of elements? How does this feeling of pride find its place within you? You are the result of a particular combination, and it is not certain when some disturbance in this combination will cause your sense of ego to disappear. Then how can there be a sense of being the experiencer? If we accept your argument as true, that you are a combination of 5 elements, then what gives rise to all your notions of mind and others? How from this combination of elements does this ego arise? How many things you understand in this way? And how many arrangements you make for the comforts of your future, as though you would live forever? Does it not all indicate illusion? My son, if you really consider yourself to be only a combination of elements, then leave this pride of ego completely. The moment you leave it, I will have nothing more to teach, because it is this very pride which keeps you in ignorance. In the example of turmeric and lime that you offer, it must be noted that lime has a color and that turmeric also has a color. This is why you see a third and different color when you mix them. But if you mix two colorless things, will any color result? Take a bit of space and a bit of air, Do you see anything of a particular color when you mix the air and the space? On the other hand, when a thing of one particular color is mixed with another thing of that very same color, no other color is produced. It is natural rule that if a colorless thing is mixed with another colorless thing, nothing of the color will produced. According to this rule, by mixing one material substance with another material substance, only a material substance can be produced. Nothing non-material can arise from this combination. Therefore, no grouping of elements can produce the feeling of consciousness. Therefore, I, the knower endowed with the power of knowing, am not the product of combination of material elements. I am separate from material substance, something beyond the elements. But since this ego is enjoined with the body, you are under the illusion that a change in the body is a change in the self. When the ego is not identified with the body, as in sleep, it does not consider itself changed when a change occurs in the body. Due to this sense of ego enjoined with body, one considers that his separation from the body, death, is his separation from the self actually. I has no connection with the body. It is separate from and beyond the body. For if I were the body, then the qualities of body would naturally be my own qualities. When I look at childhood, youth, and old age, I clearly see that natural quality of body is change. Therefore, change must also be in quality of I. But in fact, I do not like change. Change always gives me a feeling of sorrow and grief. What else is disease or death but a change in state? Then why should this I, whose very nature is change, feel the sorrow of these changes? Is it possible to have a desire not only beyond our nature but opposite to our nature? The very feeling of sorrow at change indicates that change is not our natural quality. Therefore, we cannot consider I to be the one and the same nature as body, whose nature is to change. Where there is change, there is also want. Even if nothing else were lacking at the time of change, the previous state disappearing as the succeeding state appears must be wanting. Change is the natural quality of body, and where there is change, there is want. Therefore, the quality of body is to be in want. But I does not desire to be riddled with wants. Want only torments us. Human nature desire to be perpetually free of all wants. Under these conditions, how can I call myself identical in quality to the body? In addition, the body is finite. Everything about a finite thing will naturally have limits. Then how can a thing which is completely confined within a limit reach beyond that limitation? According to the natural rule of identity, if I am the body, then I am also finite and everything about me has limitations. Nothing that is mine can go beyond my own limitations. But we see that my desires are without limit. How can a limited thing have desires without limit? How does this unlimited desires spring from me? Thus, it can also be understood that I is not finite like the body. We also see that our desire to dissolve our wants and to obtain enjoyments is never changing. We never desire to be in want or to end our enjoyments. If I am the body, then, like the body, I must be transient and changing. But how can a transient and changing I have a perpetual and constant desires? This also shows that I does not have the qualities of body. I am separate from the body. There is not a shadow of doubt in this matter.